So we're not going to out program and out design like an EA, but what we do have, we have our own stories. Like my stories, I had like a stroke and I have seizures and life can suck. It could be hard. Making that into a game seems kind of like impossible. So what I did instead, I created a Unity movie of the pieces of that world that play itself. And I let it run, made a little AI, and I'm going to sit back and watch it and see if I can figure out game mechanics that might make that simple retelling in 3D an actual game. I bet you can think of things in everyday life that might be interesting as a game that probably other people won't think of, like say your two noses, you know. Oh, that's a bad one. Um, Never mind. But you can imagine. I'm even something as mundane of only having $5 a month. No, that's a bad one too. Uh, okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and show you what I'm doing, and then see if you can see how you could pick something apart and maybe make some approaches to making it into a game. Raise your hand if you're the world's shittiest green screener. Okay, so my challenge was, as a person with epilepsy, it's hard to do your job, sleep, and take medication and not crash, right? So I don't know. Let's just go and jump in. The game is kind of like a balance of doing all these things and staying healthy while you traverse your house. Eventually, I'm going to have an office scene, but it's got this big giant house. You have to eat, you have to sleep on time. So I have these little hidden level numbers up here, just kind of debug and figure out how I'm going to make this an interesting game. In that back office, back over here, that's where you do your email, and if you don't do enough work, you're going to get fired.
We have sort of a problem here.
It's like a really, really boring game, but I know for me personally, it's a challenge to juggle all these things, and I thought it'd be an interesting game to put a player into this world where they don't know what to do next, or they're gonna lose, right? Um, Depressing. Lose means hospital, but right now it's getting close to 50%. So this person's gonna crash. So now the rooms start shaking. Now this is the whole point of the thing. Just kind of sit back and watch the thing play itself, and figure out how you can make this interesting. You have to juggle all these things, and the challenges start stacking. Like the next thing is there's a kid in the scene, and you have to take care of him, or your computer is not working, and you start to panic there. I'm not sure yet, but I've only watched this for about as long as you have, so just sitting back, I can already think of other things that would make this kind of like an interesting, challenging game, like maybe having the lights go off, or the amount of work on that laptop increases. So it seems like the game might be more interesting if it was a combination of like Jenga and like Tapper, if anybody's as old as I am, where you have to have a delicate touch and you have a time element, and more things start stacking up to add that tension and build up. Just looking at this right now, I know it'd be cool to have an element where you actually have to hop in a car and go to the office and sit down in meetings. It doesn't sound fun, but it could be built out really interesting, where it is a challenge and you have to watch the clock and you have to watch your health status. Maybe this is a dud. I don't know. But already I can see things that I want to do with it to actually build it into a game where I'm actually interacting with it. Right now, you know, the AI pathfinding is kind of taking over all this stuff for me. Yeah, I'm already getting a couple of the mechanics that would actually make it, for me, an interesting game to play, and something I wouldn't mind putting out like on the itch that I think would be entertaining. Like, the time element, the health element, challenges getting harder and harder and harder, less medically depressing versus more obstacles in the way, power-ups maybe, adding the office, strategy, I guess, but just something playable. I have those couple elements that I think if I put those in using basic Playmaker actions, could actually make this a challenging game that might be fun to play. So the next step would be just to go ahead and add those in and see how it plays to me. But this seems invaluable to actually watch it play itself. And I'm stuck doing work. Okay, so I'll leave it there and see if you find any value with that. Okay, so those were just basically ideas. I'm going to probably use some of those ideas and start cutting that thing up into something playable. I'm not sure if that's going to yield what I want, but it's starting from a real idea of something to make instead of making the, you run into this thing, you get a coin. You run into this thing, something jumps out at you and chases you. I think that's where the organics of an idea can make a really good game. If you can actually look at something first and decide how to gamify it. All right, so hopefully you don't think I'm completely full of shit. You got something out of this.